thank you for watching a book review. I've recently finished reading The Gospel of Barnabas, a Scholarly Investigation, and it's a Nook book. I recommend you get a Nook. I forgot how much, I should double check the price, but if I'm remembering right, this is one of those books that was free, or is very low cost. One reason you should buy yourself a Nook is because you can get older books for very low prices. Now, the Gospel of Barnabas, have you heard of that before? Maybe you haven't. Before I read this book about the Gospel of Barnabas, I'd heard of the Gospel of Barnabas from a couple of sources. One source is David Wood. His YouTube channel is Acts 17 Apologetics. And David Wood pointed out that it is a fraudulent document, a forgery. Not actually written by Barnabas, in other words. And the other times when I've heard about the Gospel of, and David pointed out that a lot of Muslims like it. I'm going to get back to that point in a minute. I also heard about the Gospel of Barnabas from a Muslim man I know, and he does not publicly make videos or statements, so I'm not going to reveal his identity. This one Muslim man is an otherwise smart man. He's proven me. I mean, I've had conversations with him about things. He's holding down a job that is not a job that any idiot could do. He's a smart man. But he doesn't use his intelligence when it comes to the subject of religion. Or at least I've seen him say things that make me think he's not really trying to think about religious issues. For example, he claimed that Jesus said, "Bring everyone to me that will not have me rule over them, and kill them in front of me." Jesus never said that. Now, a character in a story Jesus told said that. But this man did not apply his brain, did not use his brain on the subject of religion, and so that very simple concept of a character in a story said it, not the storyteller, is lost on him. And he was not interested enough to hear why I could look at the book while he was pointing it out to me, or maybe it was the internet. He showed it to me in the Bible. Maybe it's the internet Bible. He was uninterested enough to just hear me explain to him that it was the character in a story and not the storyteller that was saying that. But he one day said, just tell me how corrupted the gospel was, we can't trust the Bible, and the Gospel of Barnabas, or Barnabas. He was conflating the stories, or confusing Barnabas, who went out preaching the gospel with the Apostle Paul. I've heard some people call him an apostle. Maybe he was actually ordained an apostle. If he was going out preaching with Paul, that was before the apostasy, the great apostasy, so he could have been an apostle. And Barnabas, who is Barnabas, those names are a little bit different. They are close. In my Muslim acquaintances, should I call him friend or acquaintance? I mean, I'm more friendly with some other people I know than him, but maybe I could call him a friend. In his defense, the two names do sound a little bit similar. I mean, at least he wasn't confusing Barabbas and Timothy, or Titus and Barnabas. That would be extremely stupid to confuse names that are that different. Okay, so one of the things I found out from this book is that Muslim scholars denounce the Gospel of Barnabas. Wow! Until I read that, I thought like it was a standard Muslim thing that all Muslims love the Gospel of Barnabas. I didn't realize that there were there are Muslim scholars who have looked at it, remained Muslim, they didn't convert to Christianity because of it, and said, we're not going to count that one. We can't trust that book. We should not confuse the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas. I haven't read those books yet. I should try to find them. But those books, according to the writer of this one that I'm reviewing, are legitimate old books that definitely or probably were written by Barnabas. So the Gospel of Barnabas has 222 chapters according to one source I found. So it's about as thick, I forget if I read it in this book or if I read it on the internet when I was trying to find out more about the Gospel of Barnabas to understand it better. But one source I found said that it's about as thick as the whole New Testament. So that means the Gospels, the Acts, the Epistles, and Revelation. One Gospel that's that thick. This book, the Nook version at least, was published in August 31st, 2016. The format, or the way this book came about, is it was written in Turkish by a man whose pen name is Kerem Oziazi Sigil. That's my best effort to pronounce his name. And it was the version I read, since I don't know how to read any Turkish, is the English version. It was translated backwards into English for this version. This book is broken up into 3 chapters. The first chapter is the internal evidences that the Gospel of Barnabas is a fraud. It was not written in the time period when it claims to have been written, which would be between 0 and 100, well, between 30 something and 100 AD in what we might call Palestine or Judea or Israel, that area. Yeah. So internal evidences is things that you actually read in here. Money that's different kinds of money than they used back then, or a courtroom procedure that they didn't use back then. Chapter 2 is external evidences. External evidences is like where and when the oldest copy that we have was found, and things like that. And the last of the chapters is attempts to hide the contradictions in the Gospel of Barnabas. So, some people, the writer of this is a Christian who believes the Bible. And some people accuse the Bible of being corrupted at the Council of Nicaea, or Council of Nicaea being where they picked which books would be in the Bible. And he debunks that. Although I might not agree with everything he believes about the Bible, I do think that the Bible is more certain or probable than the atheists or the Muslims who don't want to believe it give it credit for. Let's see, the other point he makes in that chapter is he compares the way the Gospels were picked to end up in the Bible and the way the Hadith were picked to go into the Hadith collection. He sees a lot of similarities between those two things. And because of that, he thinks we can trust. I think he was getting at we can trust the Hadith. But he definitely thinks we can trust the 4 Gospels that ended up in the Bible as reliable, and we should be skeptical or not believing in the other Gospels that didn't end up in the Bible. Those are my thoughts on the Gospel of Barnabas, a scholarly investigation by Kerem Oziazi Sigil. Have a good day.